So, something that I get asked a lot about in terms of spirituality, entities, attachment, the healing, unhealed, etc., demonic, the evils, all that sort of stuff, is how we end up being able to discern between what is entity attachment or something external to ourselves, a lower vibration, a thought form, entities, things like that aren't ours, that they then come and attach because we may have been going through something difficult and it's altered our frequency, or sadness or depression or things like that, right? Or simply the unhealed, which often present as the circles that we run in, family, friends, etc., that are annoying, because, let's be for real, the unhealed are annoying. They're like bulls in a china shop. They will inadvertently, sometimes on purpose, most of the time I want to say not on purpose, wreak havoc in your life. And most of the time it's not because they want to, it's because they can't help it. Like family, close friends or people that you've had in your life forever and ever and ever. It's one of them things that you just kind of have to be able to look at, and it's a really important thing on the healing journey. Look at it, identify, this is an unhealed person, right? Or this is actually something more that I really want to get away from, right? Because both exist, and it's not to cause fear, it's for awareness. Both of those things exist. I've been an oracle for a very, very, very long time, and I've seen a lot, and it's now easier for me to see the difference, obviously, between the unhealed, which are just individuals who haven't unpacked their crap, right? Their backpack of crap, yeah? The victimhood, the stuck in lower vibrations because, they don't want to look at things, or emotional immaturity, whatever it might be, right? Everyone's backpack is different. Mine was a freaking, I don't know what it was. It was like a camper van size pack of I don't know what, but it took me a long time to get there, but we finally got there, finally unpacked all the shit, and being on the other side, it's definitely worth it, and life clears the way for you, and things get easier. But folks like that, that sometimes takes time for them to come to the healing party and to get on the train, even though I encourage it very much so. Whoops. But there's a big difference between those folks who don't really mean, you still might need to exercise discernment about who you want to keep close and have around, but massive difference between those folks and folks who carry entity attachment or things like that, right? Which are, we talk about entity, well, people in the movies are evil, monster, blah, blah. Really, at the end of the day, everything is energy. We're energy. Entity is energy. Everything is energy, because we're here, on earth, and we're having this experience, and we originate, and we are energy, we're frequency. That's just how it is. And so, if you really want to get scientific about it, whatever, do what you like. Thing is, right, so entity attachment is just a lower frequency, basically. There's all those names, demonic this and, evil entity or blah, blah. But at the end of the day, it's all frequency, and we're all on that frequency, and we're either on the higher end of the frequency or on the lower end of the frequency. And, misery likes company. So a lot of the time, entity and things that are not of light, energy forms that are not of light, they want to hold on and cling to folks in the human world, because they get payoff in some way. So dealt with both. It does get easier to detect. I think everything comes down to feeling and using your intuition and your gut. And when we can feel, we know what is and what isn't. And oftentimes, you'll feel it. The unhealed are just kind of going around about their business. They might not want to see reason, or they might not see their mistakes, or they might not see where they could try and do better or whatever. Entity have got a single, goal, I guess you could say, in mind, and that is to wreak havoc and bring everybody else down. And a lot of the time, and it can be scary, and it can be daunting, and it can be sad, especially if you have loved ones that you can say, well, something is not right, mate. Something's so not right. But at the end of the day, you can only send light their way. You can only send healing, protection, and ask your team in spirit, your angels, God, the ancestors, whomever it is that you align with on your spiritual journey, to assist and to carry that for you. But a lot of the time, distance is what's required, because entity attachments and things like that, entity forms and whatever, they're not pleasant. They really aren't. And unless you're sort of like very, very experienced in dealing with these things and whatever, and even then, it's not fucking pleasant. Like, let's be for real. It's just like, if we give an example of it, it's like old mate in accounts or something, like where you at your workplace, right, where you got that one person that's dead set and making everyone else's life miserable, right? And there's nothing you could do. You could buy them flowers every day. You could invite them out to lunch every day. You could write them nice notes every day. You could do all your work to perfection. They're still going to find a fault. They're still going to find a fault and try and bring it down the whole freaking workplace. Same with entity attachments and thought forms, like negative thought forms and things like that. They're there, they're embedded, and it's like, old mate in accounts where they're just like been there forever and a day, and they don't intend on leaving, and they attach to anything that's like, misery likes company, anything that has the same sort of frequency as them. And that's not fun. Like, let's be for real, it's really not. And it's like quite basic, to be honest, if we're being for real about it. But, you won't catch me hanging out with that shit. But whatever, each to their own. And the thing is, self-preservation. You got to take distance. You got to do what you got to do and cut. I am now at a point in my life where I've been through enough. I'm like, right, it doesn't bring me peace. It is out. Get back behind the fence, and that's just how it is. And it's not an easy thing to do, especially with loved ones. But until they're able to clear themselves and to do that, it's not a sinking ship here. We're not all going down with Titanic. It ain't going to be like that. I don't care how spiritual you are. I don't even care if you're Mother Teresa. Like, no, we're not having any of that kind of, mentality around here. Oh yeah, it's all gone down with a sinking Titanic. I don't think so. No, I certainly don't have any interest in getting my feet wet in that cold ice shit. So it's not happening. Self-preservation, pray, or whatever practice that you have, check in with yourself, with your guides, or your meditation, or your mindfulness, or whatever the hell the young kids are saying these days, right? Like all of that, and being aware, being self-awareness, because when we can come into communion with ourselves and we're okay with ourselves and we've reconciled our relationship with God and with the divine, however it is that you interpret that, or however it is that you work with the divine, the greater power, that's where it's at. And once you do the work, then you become unfuckable, as in not in a bad way, like hell, heavens above, like, come on, we're here to have a great time on earth side, and all the benefits. I mean, you become someone that cannot be messed around with. No entity, no this, no that, no old mate in accounts, no nobody. It's got to be, you become so unmessable that the energy frequency cannot match you. That's why healing is so important, and I advocate for healing. And having done it myself, I go, come on, people, you've got to get on board. No more victims. That victimhood is basic. Like that is the new thing, right? Being a victim is basic, and ain't no one here to be basic, especially not me, for the love of God. We've got this. We've absolutely got this. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so yeah, that's sort of the difference between entity and the unhealed. The unhealed are a pesty nuisance sometimes. Gotta love them. Like, honestly, poor pets, but like, awareness is required here. Awareness is required. So gotta love them. We send love and light, folks. But entity attachment is a whole nother thing. And you can tell when you come across someone who has entity attachment or something like that, you feel it in your gut, you feel it in your heart. Your higher heart knows, you see something. It's like almost like you see it in their eyes, but you don't see it in their eyes. You feel it in their eyes. And that is like, danger, not safe, back the fucking truck up, get the fuck out of there. Cut that person, cut that cord, whatever it is, self-preservation. You got to do what you got to do. You got to do what you got to do to keep it moving, to keep it safe. and no one can mess with your safe space, and no one can mess with your peace. Like, nobody messes with my peace anymore. If you come out here acting crazy, like, fuck no, back the fucking truck up. I'm not having that. Love and light to everybody up until you cross my boundary. And that's when you're going to get, like, ridiculous version Christina, and the one that now has been through enough that goes, do you know what? Not today. It's not happening. Anyway, that's the difference. Feel, you'll know. And the unhealed, yeah, just all I can say in regards to that is have patience. Have patience and put it out there. Like, let's not forget that we are affecting and contributing to mass consciousness, right? So everything we believe, we send it up and it goes into mass consciousness, and this is what we experience in reality. So if enough of us get on the wagon to believe that the unhealed have seen the light, whatever the frick that looks like for you, see the light, mate, please. Just look towards the light. I'm not talking about when you die. I'm not talking about those near-death experiences, for God's sake. I'm talking about, it's many people who, if we envisage and we believe that many people heal, then we're going to get a lighter experience earthside, and I do believe that is possible for us this lifetime. You got to keep believing. Got to keep believing. Don't stop believing. Oh, where the fuck is that shit from? That's from somewhere. Anyway, it's a song I think from ages ago, whatever. Point is, we need to keep believing, because that's what's going to change things. The beliefs, people. But we'll do that in another little chat. All right, keep keeping it real. No more victimhood. That's basic. Love you. Bye. Mwah.